Look, I want to thank you, congregation, and all religious contributions are tax-free. You know that? God, you're in a great mood, but you do not fool me. The only reason you're here is I'm the only one not on strike. Good to be back, isn't it?
Oh.
You've been on vacation? Doc, I know you've been gone.
Yes.
And here we are.
All together.
Together again for the first time.
Right.
Doesn't sound right, does it? Any out-of-towners tonight, tourists? You folks have great timing. You got here just in time for the first stage smog alert today. Where are you going from here? The 3 Mile Island for the Krypton gas venting? Do not worry while you're here, because we have cleaner air piped into the studio directly from Mount St. Helens. If you'll believe it, we came back on they say, the smoggiest day of the year in Los Angeles. It's a first stage smog alert, but it's a second stage ozone alert. Now, do you know what that is? Well, the Air Management Quality District has issued a warning that the air here in Los Angeles is harmful to sensitive people. Now, in Los Angeles, sensitive people are anyone with lungs. It is grim. No, you're advised. You know, it's terrible. California we live in. They advise people to stay indoors today, avoid strenuous activity, don't overdo it, cut down on all athletic activities, avoid sex. No, if you must have sex, skip the foreplay and the cigarette afterwards. Well, actually, I'm here tonight to clear up all the rumors that have been circulating. The talks with Jerry Ford to be my announcer have fallen through. But I don't think of Ed as a second choice. I really had him. Now, I was out of the country during the Republican convention. And from what I understand, it was a good time to be out of the country. I have seen some of the videotapes of that convention. How many of you saw it? Of course, that was the Republican convention, and it's really not too reassuring to me to know that the man who may be our next president is chosen by 3,000 guys wearing inflatable elephants on their hats. They had, as I understand it, I've read all the news magazines. Apparently there was a whole brouhaha about Reagan first was trying to get Ford, and then he was going to serve as what? Kind of a, magazines say, a co-president. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm not sure that I want the largest power in the free world run like the Mike Douglas show. It was held in Detroit, of course, and that was fascinating. Watching the party of the rich drive up in huge limousines while all the unemployed auto workers stood around and cheered that somebody was driving them. That was kind of semi-cute, wasn't it? Yeah, you're right, yeah. Did you know that the TV convention, the Republican convention in the Nielsen ratings came in last? Yeah. Not many people were watching it, but there's a reason. It was beaten by one of the local channels who had a documentary on that night called The Whys and Wherefores of Soil Erosion. And that, well, did you see Reagan's acceptance speech? He got pretty good marks for that speech. It wasn't bad, and Ronnie didn't take any chances on that speech. What? You didn't think it was good? Well, he didn't take any chances. Oh, he mentioned God, country, family, prosperity, hope, faith, Franklin D. Roosevelt, Abraham Lincoln. He deliberately left out mom and apple pie so he could win the moderates. You have to think about that a while. He quoted Abraham Lincoln. That's a good trick they all do. And a reporter asked him if he knew that the quote from Lincoln was absolutely correct. And Reagan says, I wrote it down right after Abe told it to me. Did you notice there were not a lot of blacks at the convention in Detroit? But Reagan had an answer ready. He said there was a good reason for that. He said, across the street, Motown Records was holding open auditions for a new Pip. Which could explain it. Now, Jimmy Carter said yesterday, he said a co-presidency would not work. He said, you don't see me giving that kind of power to Mondale. I give it to Billy. When I started reading that about Billy Carter, I could not wait to get back here. It's all over the papers, all over the world. English papers, the French papers are full of it. A lot of people are complaining that Billy Carter should not be making foreign policy decisions. I disagree. I think it's nice that someone in the family is. Billy is supposed to be, he had to register, did he not, as a paid foreign lobbyist or paid lobbyist for the country of Libya. Now, I cannot imagine what Billy Carter could do for Libya. It might be perfect to irrigate the desert. You remember. The president's just got a run of bad luck. He's down in the polls, we're in a recession, the Russians are in Afghanistan, the hostage situation, and now the whole thing with Billy. Jimmy Carter needs a brother like Billy, like Mount St. Helens needs a ski lift. We'll keep that saga going. This is a lot of things going on. If any of you have been following, I guess there's not much coverage of the Moscow Olympics. A little something on the news now and then, because there's, as you know, is a 50-nation boycott, and they're not getting the world's top athletes, as you know. So far, the most gold medals have gone to the Norwegian cheese fondling team. That's right. Their champion, Bjorn Knudsen. Bjorn Knudsen, you know, he scored. He scored an 8.6 when he groped a whole barrel full of Goudas. And many Muscovites were thrilled by the brilliant performance of the Lithuanian embalming team. When they managed, they set a new team record for pumping a quart of Pennzoil into Lenin's tomb. We have, it's good to be here. We have an exciting show. I don't know whether you mentioned that later on Henry Kissinger will be out here. That's right, a little surprise. Kissinger will be here and try to negotiate a deal for Gerald Ford to become J.R. Ewing's partner. Big show. So stay where you are. We've got some great people. We have Miss Diane Cannon tonight. We have the man who was in Time magazine this week. He keeps saying he gets no respect. Rodney was in Time magazine. Rodney Dangerfield. We have a fascinating gentleman who has spent about the last quarter of a century in Europe, traveling around. He was senior correspondent for Newsweek for 17 years. Arnold de Borchgrave is with us tonight. Fascinating book. And Jim Fowler, who has been here, you've probably seen Jim mainly on the show with Marlon Perkins. Jim is usually the one who is doing the heavy work. Marlon will come on. Marlon's one with the white hair and the mustache who says, while Jim is downstream wrestling the crocodile in heat, I'm going to sit here in the hut with this pitcher of banana daiquiris and get pretty well. So Jim is here, so stay where you are. We'll be right back. Thank you. Thank you, Doctor. We are back.
Yes. Good to see you. Yeah, terrific. Very nice.
You've been also gone for a few weeks?
Yes, I've been on vacation as well as you.
Yeah. Did you have a good time?
I had a great time. I went down to Mobile and I did the America's Junior Miss pageant first on my way to Florida.
Say hello to the ladies, did you?
Yes, I did. They're lovely ladies, 50 of them, count them, 50. And we selected a beautiful junior miss, and she's traveling around the country, make her drop in and see us. And then I went down to Florida, my little spot in Florida.
Good.
I now have count them, 2 alligators.
What are you talking about?
Oh, I told you I had alligators. I had an alligator in the back.
You told me they bark. Oh, yeah, they
They
bark.
bark when they're, out looking for action. And
So do you. Nothing new.
but I have 2. Another one has joined our little happy family down
Well, I want to talk when Jim Fowler comes out. We'll find out if alligators bark or not.
Okay.
So I think he has one with him tonight.
An alligator?
And a crocodile.
Ooh.
Which are not the same, by the way.
They're not the same.
They're not. Anyway, we had a fascinating time. I went with, Bombastic Bushkin,
Bombastic.
my attorney.
Mm-hmm.
There is actually a I call him that, but Henry Bushkin and his wife Judy and Joanna, we went to the south of France, and we went up to Wimbledon to watch the finals.
That match.
And I want to tell you, that was one of the most exciting tennis matches between John McEnroe and Bjorn Borg I have ever seen in my life. Did you happen to see
I watched it, yes.
It was
Unbelievable.
incredible. Just incredible.
You couldn't leave the room.
I don't know whether you're a tennis fan or not. Even if you're not, I suppose it's like being at the World Series, the Kentucky Derby, the Super Bowl. And it was an incredible match because if you remember, on the first set, McEnroe came out and knocked Borg off 6-1 in about 24 minutes. And everybody says, well, it's going to be one of those days and Borg is going to lose it. Then the second set was, I think, 6-3 Borg, and then it was 7-5. And then that fourth set went into that incredible tiebreaker of 18-16. And it went as long as the first set for 24 minutes. And the people at Wimbledon, which is supposed to be rather reserved, the English, are rather reserved when they watch tennis. Good shot, quite good show. We're like a bunch of kids in summer camp. They were jumping up and down and screaming. And it was one of those matches where you didn't want either one to lose. And yet you knew it wasn't going to come out that way, and Borg finally pulled it out.
Yeah.
Incredible match. McEnroe was wonderful.
It was something else. And I tell them about your wonderful trip, because I know you've always wanted to go. It's been a dream of yours to tour the Mediterranean on a luxurious
Yacht.
And you picked one of
betcha.
the most luxurious in the world. Tell them about that wonderful time.
It was really swell. Great timing. We had, Lou Grade.
Right.
So they call him Sir Lou, Lord Lou Grade, big impresario in London. Very nice man. Says, you want to use, I have a boat over there. Would you like to use it for a few days? And he said, pick out the days you would like, and you can have it for 3 days. And I said, that's wonderful. And we picked them out. I think it was July 9th, 10th, and 11th.
9th, 10th, 11th.
Yes, I remember those days. And we're going to go on the boat from, we're Hotel du Cap in Cap d'Antibes, the south of France. And we're going to go to Portofino, Italy, not too far away, by boat about 8 to 10 hours.
Right. It was a nice trip, though.
Nice trip. The boat.
Beautiful that time of year.
Cruises.
July 9th, 10th, and 11th. It's gorgeous.
Wonderful. Well, I want to tell you, it looked a little overcast when we started in the morning. And I said to the captain, how does it look? He said, a bit spotty. That should have been, when the captain says a bit spotty.
Yes. That's a tip-off.
That was a tip-off. And I said, well, let's go ahead and go.
We got the yacht?
We got the boat, right? Well, we start. And we leave about 8 o'clock at night because we're going to go most of the night to Portofino.
Right. You sleep, you get on the sea, boy. You just rock yourself to sleep. It's so beautiful. I love that, sleeping at sea.
Well,
it's just lovely.
God must have been after me for something. I'm not sure what it was. But he said, Carson got 3 days out of this year. I'm going to get him. And the ocean started to become, as they say, a bit nasty.
Yes.
And the waves are coming up.
Right.
And the waves are really coming up.
Yeah.
And I was in the Navy, fortunately, and I've never had the problem with the motion sickness. But as you know, when you're on a boat, it does 3 different things. It pitches, it goes like this. It also rolls, and it also yaws.
Right.
So you get... You can get sick just watching this hand, folks.
Was this particular yacht doing any of that?
That and complete flips. It got a little bit choppy, and by the time we got to port, nobody had slept. Nobody could sleep the whole night. And now you might as well have fun with this.
Sure.
And have a sense of humor.
Right.
Because you know it's going to be a total disaster. By the time we got to Portofino, nobody had slept the whole night. Now we get to Portofino and we can't dock.
So rough you can't go into Portofino?
No, none
Well, how
of you...
about the little... Put those little boats off the sides.
No, you couldn't put the little boat over the side because the waves were so big. If you put the boat over the side, it would hit the big
And you
boat.
haven't... You still this day, you have not seen Portofino?
Only from the harbor. It's a beautiful little Italian village.
Lovely. I've been there. It's a lovely place.
Yeah, and
Just
we set out in the harbor for about an hour with the hook and the anchor in the water, looking at Portofino. And I said, maybe we can go in and dock at one of the slips. And he said, no, he says, you don't understand. The Italians are not crazy enough to come out in this kind of weather. So there was no slip that we could go into.
Oh.
So I said, why don't we go back whence we came?
Oh, and then that's when that great sea proverb of ancient times comes in. I think it's from the Ancient Mariner. Bad voyage out, good voyage back. Isn't that the way it works?
No.
Oh.
No. It's good voyage in, bad voyage back. It got rough going back.
Worse?
Time we got back, everybody was pretty well unglued.
Oh.
And that was the wonderful yacht trip to Portofino.
3 days on the yacht.
And we docked, we got off, and the next day, it looked like a skating rink. You could have gone in a rowboat to Portofino. It was like glass, so smooth. But the 3 days out of the year that we chose,
A monsoon.
and I chose those dates personally, the 9th, 10th, 11th, it was hysterical. Bushkin is not a sailor.
No.
Bushkin is not Nimitz, I will tell you. They were not happy about this voyage, and I chose those dates, 9th, 10th, 11th. Anyway, I got a couple other things to tell you about. Anyway, first we have a word from Sears Roebuck and Company. Sears, where America shops for value. Easy to see. I've got other things I want to tell you about the trip. We got a lot of people on the show tonight, so I'll save some of them for tomorrow night.
Okay.
There are other disasters that befell us along the way.
A great vacation.
Oh, yeah, it was wonderful. A great time. My first guest I've been a great admirer of, as you know. She is
I have too.
What?
I have as well.
Well, I know that. I didn't say you weren't, but
But you said, as you know.
well, you know what I mean. She's a lovely lady. What do you mean?
I'm agreeing with you.
Okay. And she's a fine actress. Right. Currently starring in one of this summer's most popular movies, Honeysuckle Rose, with Willie Nelson. And I'm doing my best. It takes me a while. You see, when I've been on vacation, I lose the rhythm of the show. In October, she's going to be starring in a new film called Coast to Coast. Isn't that with Bob Blake, Robert Blake? In that picture? Well, she'll tell us. Would you welcome Diane Camp? Come on, contain yourself. This is a lady. This is no floozy that walked off the street here. Oh, you're not going to start with that already.
Oh, Johnny, I'm so glad to see you.
Thank you. I haven't seen you for a long time.
For a long... Well, the last time we saw each other was at the Oscars, I think.
I think you're right.
When he hosted that show, I thought you did such a great job.
Yeah, thank you. I had fun with that. But you haven't been here for...
I haven't been here for eons.
How long, Fred?
2.5 years.
Oh, my goodness.
Your picture you directed.
Well, I wanted to come on. Oh, I came on when I directed #1. I wanted to
Yes?
come on, but you were never here, Johnny.
Oh, come on now.
No.
Thank you. What's up? You gonna get a case of the giggles tonight? You do that around me. Do you know that?
You always make me laugh. What can I do?
I don't know. Laughter is my life.
You look so well.
What?
You really... Laughter is my life.
I feel good. I feel really... You know, I was so anxious to get back to work, actually. 3 weeks is too long for me.
Vince was just saying out there, he said he has such great posture and the way he's such in good shape. Do you work on your posture and standing up straight? Because you do. You have this... It's true, he has. Does that come from playing tennis?
Every day I do, I stand straight for a while. No, I've been kidding. Shecky Green kids me. He says I can't even repeat what Shecky says about me.
Why not?
Because it's a little obscene, but it's like something has been inserted into my body that keeps me upright. But for some reason, I don't know where it comes from, Shy, I've always stood erect, and maybe a little too erect or something.
Oh,
it looks like
beautifully erect.
Oh, thank you.
Your posture.
I do. Well, come on, don't add to it. I mean, you should never try to explain what you've said. The damage is already done.
That didn't sound damaging.
No, it didn't. You look great.
I feel so good.
Do you really? But you've changed your kind of whole lifestyle the last few years,
Yeah, I have.
haven't you?
Uh-huh.
But one time you were only on a vegetable kick. I mean, very...
I was a vegetarian for a while, yeah.
Now, did you...
No, I
Stay
gave
that-
that
stay
up.
that
Now
severe?
I eat fish
Yeah.
and chicken and... But I went through all those things in order to find what I called purity, and
Yeah.
then I missed fish and chicken, so I started in again.
So you're not pure
Fish and
anymore.
chicken are pure, too.
Sure they are.
Sure. I just got rid of them for a while. It's like a marriage, you know?
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, you're cute. You're really cute.
Speaking of marriages, Joanne and I had such a good time. We were down at the door together.
She told
last
me that.
January. She's
That's right.
some kind of lady.
Isn't she nice?
Yep,
Talk
she
about
really
my wife.
is.
My wife, Joanna. My wife. Oh, I'm glad you met each other.
Oh, we've known each other, Johnny, for a long time, Joanne and I.
I didn't know that.
Well, you and I have known each other longer than Joanne and I have known each other.
Joanna.
Joanna, but I met Joanna after.
Okay, I'm going to regroup here. So. Always get me in trouble.
The commercial.
What?
The commercial.
All right, we're going to be back in a minute.
What are you thinking about, Johnny?
First, we're going to find out why there's no rest like a beauty rest. By We're back, and we're talking with Diane Cannon. You know, I read a review today of the movie you're in, good reviews, with Willie Nelson called Honeysuckle Rose. I'm such a fan of his, not only of you, but his. He's great talent, isn't he?
Yeah, I had never heard of him, Johnny.
Willie Nelson?
I had never heard of him. I was working on a film at Paramount. I was co-writing a script called Coast to Coast, in which I star with Robert Blake, who I understand has been on the show.
Oh, he said some strange things about that picture.
Well, you know Bob.
Yes, I do.
He's cute. What can you do? Anyhow, they called me about Honeysuckle Rose and said, we'd like you to co-star with a man by the name of Willie Nelson. And I said, who is he? They said, he's a very fine and very famous country western singer. I said, well, I'm not into that music,
Right.
but let me go out and buy one of his albums. I did and played a cut called Nightlife. And I don't know if you're familiar with that cut, but he
cuts over, you see. He's not just country western. He cuts over.
He really
pop
does.
And everything. And he's one of the, what I would call, truly honest singers. I mean, he phrases beautifully and he interprets it. He's incredible.
I think he's the best phraser living.
Yeah.
Well, what happened was I didn't know about his acting ability because he did a small role in Electric Horseman.
Right.
But he had never, that's a whole big thing from carrying a movie.
Right.
And I was skeptical about it, but I'm sure he was skeptical about my singing, too, because I'd never sung country western.
Yeah.
So I said, well, if I put on my boots and sing country western, will you take off your boots and act with me? And he
Right.
did, and we did, and I hope the music we made was pretty.
Have you ever done much singing at all?
Singing I've done, yeah. I played Las Vegas with Sammy at Caesars.
right.
But I've never sung country western. That's another whole kind of music. It's a different attitude. It's so honest.
There's a, I hate to use the word country western, but there is a quality in the voice that the good people have, and I don't know exactly how to describe it, whether it's...
It's like a tear in the voice.
Yeah, a little bit. There's a little great vibrato in there. I know we've had Ray Price on, and we have a lot of the country western people, and there's a great quality in the voice.
Everyone said, weren't you scared? It's like acting with Olivier for the first time. But you know,
Yeah.
it's like playing tennis. It's a lot easier to hit balls if a pro's hitting them to you.
It's always, I've
You
heard
know, then you
actors
get
say
out
that.
there with someone who doesn't know what they're doing, and he knows what he's doing.
If you work against somebody whose talent is up here, it raises your own level, right?
Always.
Yeah, I didn't know you sang that well.
Oh, Johnny, thank you.
He's got a great edge to his voice. I was telling you, when I was in Europe, I got that album, Stardust, I think it is, on cassette.
It is.
And,
Georgia on My Mind.
yeah, just knocked me out.
All the good ones.
Yeah. What else is coming up for you? Busy?
Coast to coast.
Now, tell me about Coast to Coast. Now, Blake was on the show, and he really did a number on that thing.
What'd he do?
Well, he was kind of... I can't even tell you what he said about it.
Really?
No.
Was it terrible?
Well, I never know when to take Bob seriously,
Either do I.
you know, at times. But he got a lot of publicity for that picture. He was kind of zinging it, and the producers, he was putting down the producers.
I know. I
said
heard
they
there was
didn't know what they were doing.
lawsuits going on in the studio the next day. I didn't see the show. I heard about it. But, you know, Bobby's cute. He just, well, you know, actually...
Yeah, now, how would you describe him if you had to describe him?
Well, you see, I co-wrote that movie, and I had co-star approval. I got to pick the man that was playing opposite me, and I thought Bobby was the best truck driver around. I mean, he's like a truck driver, isn't he? And he's wonderful in the movie.
Yeah.
And I have to tell you, I really enjoyed him. I enjoyed working on some days when he's in one of his little things, you head for the hills.
He's very intense. He gets very intense.
But he's good at what he does.
Yeah.
Yeah, he really is. I think the movie... Why are you smiling?
I don't know.
He is. He gets vehement. You don't know when to buy it.
Yeah.
But,
But it was good.
I think it's going to be a good movie.
Yeah.
You know why? I'm really tired. The thing that I like about Honeysuckle Rose is you go to the movie, maybe you have a couple tears, you laugh a lot, and you come out feeling good.
Right.
Coast to Coast is a romp. It's about a woman who lives in Beverly Hills, wants a divorce from her husband. He won't give it to her because he has to pay her a lot of alimony. So he says she's nuts. You don't have to do anything. He says that she's crazy. He has her put in an insane asylum. She breaks out, and she hitches a ride across the country with a truck driver who's Robert Blake. So it's a romp. But you laugh, and you feel good. I'm so tired of movies that preach and pontificate and are filled with violence. I mean, if you're going to spend $5 to go see a movie, let's feel good about it.
You know the violence you need at home.
Really?
You go out and
Really?
laugh a little
It's so
bit.
true.
Sure. That's
Pick
it.
up a newspaper.
Speaking of home, I understand you're not even living at home.
No.
You're touring your house apart or something?
Johnny, I hear your house is so beautiful. Joanna has asked me to come and see it. Did you have a hand in that, in the redecorating of it?
Not really.
No, I
say that's all right.
understand.
Move that over there.
Really? I was told you
Not-
had.
No, not really.
I'm redecorating my house, which is in Malibu, not far from your house.
Yeah.
And I hear yours is just beautiful.
Well, you must come up and see it.
Yeah, I'd like to.
How about tonight? little humor there.
I've been living in town
Really?
till the house gets redecorated.
What are you
And
doing
I'm,
to it? What are you doing to it?
Everything, knocking down walls. Light is the thing the house needed. It was too dark, and I wanted so much light, so I'm just knocking down walls and putting in skylights and lightening it up. I'm also directing a feature, Johnny.
Are you?
Since the last time I saw you, I'm co-writing a feature that I'm directing. You know about the little #1 that I did?
Yes.
Well, this is about high school girls' first sexual experience and how tough it is to be a teenager today. And
Do you
how
think it's tougher today? Because you have a teenage daughter.
I do. Jennifer's a teenager now, and I think
I mean, they're
it is
exposed to
tougher.
more things earlier, an earlier age, I think.
I think so. And the drug thing is scary.
Yeah.
In school and out of school. And I don't think it's easy to be a parent now. Was it when your kids,
Well, I'm not exactly, that old.
No,
I mean,
of course you're not. But it was a little different. But the drugs weren't as talked about and weren't out as
when I was in
trend, were they?
school, when I as a
a
youngster,
student?
I never heard. Marijuana was something you heard about.
No, I
A
didn't either.
movie came around once a year called The Devil's Weed.
That's right.
And you'd all rush down to see The Devil's Weed, and it would show the sexual abandonment you would have if you could ever manage to get your hands on some of this substance. And it showed women went insane.
Reefer Madness.
What?
Reefer
Madness was another one. Oh, yeah, I never miss that. Come around once a year, but no, the whole situation is different
It's
nowadays.
crazy
and it is.
now.
It's
So the
very
movie's going to be
difficult.
about that. I hope it'll be light enough also to have some fun in it. But it'll be how tough it is to be a teenager today.
Yeah. Okay, do you like it? What? Well, you have to leave.
Yeah. I'm sorry. But I'd like to come again.
All right, how about tomorrow night? Nobody ever says you tried one. Okay, the movie is currently playing called Honeysuckle Rose. Would you come back with us soon?
I will,
Don't make it
Johnny.
2 years, huh?
I'd like to come.
Okay, thank you.
Good night.
Thank you. Yes, sir. We'll be back. Jim Fowler is with us. With animals. Yes. Okay, Jim Fowler is here tonight. Jim, of course, was the co-host of the Wild Kingdom TV series. He also designs wild animal parks, and he's designing right now a very unusual wild animal park in Largo, Maryland, which is just outside of Washington, D.C. And Jim always has some fascinating animals, and let's see what they are tonight. Would you welcome Jim Fowler? Oops, see, he got my cup here. Now, this is either that is either an alligator or a crocodile.
Yeah, this is a alligator.
That's an alligator.
Yeah, you got it.
A rather good-sized alligator.
Yeah, it is. It's rather nice, isn't it? The alligators, there is quite a difference between alligators and crocs. The alligator basically doesn't eat people.
There you see.
Right? Crocodile does, but this has a wide snout,
Right.
and the teeth are different. This is a quite unusual alligator. It's been raised as a pet.
Oh, come on now.
Yeah.
Why do they always look like they're stoned? I mean, the eyes are different. Did you notice? Look at the close-up. They look like, hey.
Well, when they see something they want, they change in a hurry. But anyway, this alligators are fascinating. People have problems with reptiles, you know.
Yes, they do.
But they really shouldn't, because the alligators aren't as dangerous as the. I mean,
Where's he going, Jim?
Jim, tell them how fast they are.
Yeah. Well, he might start moving a little faster here in a minute. They can actually get up and run just about like a dog. You have to be very careful how fast.
You see, now
they run.
people they don't believe you, but they do move very quickly, don't they?
They're very fast.
Now, how old is this alligator?
This one's only about 7 years old.
And they will get to be what, 18 feet,
They'll
something
get
like
to
that?
be 18 feet. Crocodile's a little bit bigger.
Why do they make a good pet?
Well, I don't necessarily think they make a good pet, because you can't tell the difference when an alligator grins at you. You don't know whether he's being friendly or he's about to take your leg off. That's the problem.
I thought you said they didn't eat people.
Well, in captivity, they become a little neurotic if they get hungry. I wouldn't recommend that you have one, for example, because
Don't plan to.
they...
What would you feed this alligator?
This one eats, in captivity, it eats almost any kind of meat. In the wild, rats and mice and things like that, and also dogs. Alligators go after dogs a lot.
Yeah.
But I've got something to compare this with. The problem is, if you will watch this.
Sure, I'll watch him.
Huh?
Right here, I'm going to watch him.
Here, yeah?
Sure, I'm watching him, okay? Well, look at that. Is the tail dangerous?
Right, look at this. If you will hold, I don't think he's going to go very far, but if you'll hold this right there and your hand right
Hold what?
there.
Hold what?
Just hold this thing right there. Your hand here, he'll be all right. And I'll be right back in just a second.
Jim!
Now this is...
Jim!
Hold that one.
Got him, Jim! Right.
That's right.
Very strong, aren't they?
This is a pet.
Yes,
okay?
a pet, right.
This is a pet, but this one isn't. This is a crocodile. You very rarely get an opportunity to see them this well compared.
Yep, they're close to you.
But notice the snout, right?
Yeah.
This is much more of a deadly animal.
What is all the red stuff on the end of the
Well,
snout?
he in the box, that's nothing. They just get a little bit skinned very easily.
Oh, I see.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing he ate or anything
No,
like
no.
that?
He'll heal right up. Anyway.
This has got the wide...
See a beautiful comparison there. Now, this one was found here, and this is an American crocodile. This grows to be about 20 feet long.
Yeah.
It was found, curiously enough, here in Los Angeles, in a sewage lagoon.
Oh, you kidding?
After a big flood. Nobody knows, where it came from.
Right.
Okay, let me show you one thing with this alligator. I think
Okay.
this is very unusual because this is one of the only alligators I've ever seen. I want to get it a little further away from the crop. Okay? Let's do it right
How
here.
about Barstow? Is that too far away?
If you'll take the tail, Johnny, I'll show you a phenomenal thing about gators. Let's turn it over quite easily, okay? Now hold the tail straight. There you go. Now, easy does it.
Yeah.
Now, rub the stomach.
What?
And let loose the tail. Wait a minute. Not quite. Pull the tail so it stretches his body. There you go. Now hold it still. Everybody be quiet. Now let loose the tail. And that's how you put an alligator to sleep. Now roll him over and he'll back alive.
Well, what does that?
Well, it's just they get disoriented, and it's one of the unusual things about it.
Would it happen with the crocodile?
No.
Okay.
Now, show you this. This one also has been handled so much that John Loris from Pocono Snake Farm, I think it is, raised this one. And I want to show you something. It is the only alligator I've ever seen that likes to be burped. It really does. Now watch, it's a little nervous. Do like this. And watch what happens. Want to try?
What?
Want to try? Seriously, do it just like I said. Put your thing there. Put it on your shoulder. Just like that. Okay. Now pet him. That's well. Now, I don't know.
What?
I frankly don't know any alligator you could do that with without having your neck taken off.
Okay.
Let's see. We'll have to.
Yeah, we'll do this commercial while we get rid of the alligators and the croc. Now, he's mean. He could
Yeah, this one is.
We'll be right back, folks, after this. Okay, once again, here is Jim Fowler with whatever. Jim? Oh, look at this. Look at this.
It's a little unusual here. Come on.
These are bears,
Yeah,
obvious.
I really couldn't resist showing you these because this is quite a sight to see.
Look at
two
this.
very handleable bears. These bears were raised up here at Cougar Hill Ranch, George.
What kind of bears are these?
These are black bears.
Yeah, huh?
Of course, we film these quite often on Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom. We've done a lot on bears. I've been chased up a few trees by them. I have another animal to show you, though.
God, what do you...
I'm going to have to ask you.
Sorry.
Johnny, I'm going to have to ask you to hold them again.
What?
I got to do it because I got another one I want to show you.
Want me to
If you'll
hold this?
Take the bread.
Yeah.
Give them the bread, but if they try to take it away from you,
Yeah?
don't take it back from them. Okay? Just give them the bread. and they'll-
Give them the bread.
Yeah, that's right.
Will they open it?
I think so. I'm busy with the sample, right?
Right, bread coming, bread coming. Bread coming. No, that's, no.
I think you got a little coffee problem.
Yeah, here. Here's the bread. Here's some bread. Bread. I've got him under control, Jim. Bread, right.
Just put that on.
What?
Yeah. Don't try to take it away.
Don't try to take it away from him, right? Some bread, right here. Right. Bread for everybody.
While we're doing it, I've got to show you this one. That's good. He'll be all right.
He'll be all right,
Just
right.
let him drop the leash.
Sure.
He'll stay there.
Okay. Right.
Yeah.
This is a.
This is a jaguar.
That's a jaguar.
But it's very unusual to see jaguars that get along with bears and things like that.
Right.
This has been raised with the bears,
Uh-huh.
and I don't think there are very many animals in the world today that are as attractive. Let me see if I can get him
That's
turned
a
around.
beautiful animal. Look at that. Look at that
little
face.
jaguar.
Can I pet him?
Yep. Very gentle.
Oh, look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Now, they grow to be
Yeah.
rather large, don't
200
they?
pounds. I want to get
Let's go to this.
Do we have to do this first? Sure. Okay.
Don't take the bread away.
I'm not going to take the bread away from you. We'll be right back after this. Thank you, Doc. My next guest. Tell you, my next guest has a lot of things going. He's starring in a movie which opens nationally Friday, July 25th, called Caddyshack. He's got a new album out called No Respect. He's a good friend and a funny man. Would you welcome Rodney Dangerfield?
Last week I was in rough shape, you know? I mean, last week I bought a whirlpool for my bath. So far, I lost 3 of my best ships. Last week, nothing went right. I bought a waterbed. There were 2 Cuban guys swimming in it looking for Florida. I tell you, people are nuts, you know? My dentist, too, another beauty, my dentist, he found a new way to hide his bad breath. He holds up his arms. I tell you, I mean, there's wise guys. Well, I checked in a hotel. I asked the bellhop to handle my bag. He started to feel up my wife. I said to him, I said, hey, buddy, who told you could play around my wife? He said, everybody. I tell my wife I can never relax, you know. I told her our kid is spoiled. She told me a lot of kids smell that way. She's a lousy cook, too. She can't cook at all. I leave dental floss in the kitchen, the roaches hang themselves. My wife, she don't go for me either. I'm not a good-looking guy. Well, Halloween, I open the front door, kids give me candy. Are you kidding? I know I'm ugly. My dog found out we look alike. He killed himself. I was an ugly kid, too. My old man took me to the zoo. The guy at the gate thanked him for returning me. And I was a very ugly kid. Every time my old man wanted sex, my mother showed him my picture. I was a very ugly kid. In my sandbox, the cat kept covering me up all the time, you know? Well, when I was a kid, nobody was nice. I was 6 years old. I found out there's no such thing as Alpo baby food. I mean, and nobody was nice. My mother never breastfed me. She told me she liked me as a friend. I mean, I had her rough. Well, I told my old man I'm sick and tired of running around in circles. He got mad. He nailed down my other foot. I mean, that's the story of my life. No respect. I don't get no respect at all. Are you kidding? No respect at all. Well, when I was born, the doctor told my mother I did all I could, but he pulled through anyway, you know? I mean, I don't get no respect from anyone. Well, last week my house was on fire. My wife told the kids, be quiet, you wake up Daddy. Hey, over to Hollywood. That's my spot there. Okay, I'll see you now. How you doing? You
Fine,
work this way.
good to see you. Whatever.
Okay. How you doing? All right?
I'm doing fine.
Good.
I've seen you for a while.
I've been around.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been keeping busy, you know, running around a bit.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I'll be back in New York tomorrow at my club for Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and I'll be in the Riviera Hotel July 31st for a week. Then I'm going out to Green Bay, Wisconsin, to Carlton West. I'll be over there.
Yeah.
And Wisconsin.
You're busy.
It's nice out there, you know?
Yeah.
You come from Nebraska. It's
That's
nice.
right.
Midwest is nice.
You like the Midwest, huh?
Yeah, I wish I came Midwest sometimes, you know. Oh, Midwest, I lived in a nice, small, adjusted town, you know. I had a wooden frame house with a screen door in the back of the kitchen. My brother and sister were Marianne and Biff. And Dad was vice president of the bank, worked there for 30 years, very adjusted man, Dad, never smokes, drinks, or gambles, you know. Then you read about these guys. One day they pick up an axe and wipe out the whole family, you know. Yeah, the next day the cops come around. What happened here? What kind of man was he? He was a quiet man. But I've been bouncing around a lot. I've been plugging my album, a new album out, No Respect.
right.
So it's...
Is that going well, is it?
It's going real good. It's on the charts, a bullet, whatever that means, you know.
On the chart.
And do you hold up the backside, too, of the album?
Yes, I don't know
Can you show them the back? Yeah, it's a cute little thing there.
Now you can understand about no
Can you see
respect.
I got no respect here in California, I'll tell you that.
Really?
I got stuck the other day, you know. I wanted to go sightseeing. They took me on a tour of all the extras' houses. But that's on, definitely, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
No, but I've been running around. I gained weight back, Johnny. You know what I mean? Hey, you don't eat properly in a road. You're running around all the time, you know, and it's tough to, you know, lose weight when you're on the road, jumping around a bit, you know. And but I was much heavier. I was fat, you kidding. I was so fat when I got my shoes shone, I had to take the guy's word for it. I mean, I was fat, I'll tell you that. I mean, I was some fat girls, too, I'll tell you that. Who? Now, one girl, she was so fat, she got in the scale, a card came out, said one at a time, you know. She was fat.
That's a big girl.
Ooh, remember how we met? I hit her with my car. She said to me, "Why don't you go around me?" I told her I didn't think I had enough gas. She was a wild girl, I'll tell you. Ooh, very wild girl. Ooh, she was. You kidding? Well, she made me French toast. Her tongue got caught in the toaster. She was wild. Now, but I'll tell you, too skinny's no good either, you know. No good to be too skinny. You know, a guy died in my block last week. Was he skinny? Ooh.
Skinny, huh?
He was so skinny, the funeral had one pallbearer, a waiter, you know. Nah, but skinny's better than fat, I'll tell you that. Better being skinny, better for your health, you know. Health, and that's what's important, your health. You know, you kidding? I'm not a kid anymore. I'm getting old now.
Yeah.
I know I'm getting old. I'm at the age now, if I hear someone goes both ways, I figure it's number one and number two, you know. Take care of my health. I told you. In fact, I saw my doctor last week, Dr. Vinny Boombatz. You know my doctor. Oh, I saw him last week. Yeah. Had a check-up on the scene, and I asked him if my heart was strong enough for sex, you know. He told me not if I join in. I tell you, Johnny, I told you, it's tough to be funny when you're coming off drugs, I'll tell you that. I'll tell you that's tough, Johnny. I tell you, though, Johnny, the first time I tried marijuana, I had a wonderful experience.
Yeah.
Actually, I had a wonderful sexual experience.
Really?
I only wish I'd been someone there to enjoy it with me, that's all, you know? No, I was a kid, Johnny. I was a kid. You do crazy things when you're a kid, you know. I was a very green kid, too, a very green kid. Remember the first time I had sex with a girl, I was so confused. I didn't know what to do, you know. Yeah. I dialed 555, 1212. I wish I was gay. I'd make it with Steve Martin, you know that? Actually, he's my second choice. No offense. All right. And, so quiet, I feel like E.F. Hutton just spoke, you know? Got a cigarette, okay? You don't mind, do you?
You should give that up.
I got a crazy doctor told me to keep smoking if I want to stop chewing gum, so what the heck? How long do you expect to be in Shanghai?
You want to talk about your movie?
Oh, yeah, the movie come out. It was a big movie. It's 843 pages. Big movie. No, it's a movie called Caddyshack. Fellows wrote Animal House wrote it, and it opens Friday around the whole country, and it's doing real good. Everyone likes it.
You're very funny in it.
Yeah, it came out real good. It was a good part, you know, and I played a part of a nouveau riche ignoramus who invades a nice, sensitive country club, and I don't belong in that country club, and Ted Knight is not, he and I don't get along at all in the movie, you know, and it's a good movie. Chevy Chase is in it, and Bill Murray, and a lot of nice people, and it's actually, it's a low-budget movie. Went to location by subway.
We have a film clip.
Oh, yeah, we have a film clip, too.
I just said
Hey, I'm
that.
in the movies.
Shall we take a look at it?
Okay, we'll see what happens. This is the opening where I make my entrance to this
Okay.
movie in the country club, yeah.
There's some Caddyshack.
Caddyshack. Yeah, kid, park my car, get my bags, and put on some weight, will you? Hey, Wayne, what's with the pictures? It's a parking lot. Come on, will you? I think this place is restricted, Wayne, so don't tell me you're Jewish. Okay, fine. Hey, kid, I'm Al Chervik. I'm playing with Drew Scott today. This is my guest, Mr. Wayne. No offense. Oh, I can give me have a half a dozen of those Vulcan D10s and set my friend up here with the whole schmear. You know, clubs, bags, shoes, gloves, shirt, pants. Oh, don't make the pants too tight. You'll hurt his fortune cookie. Oh, by the way, want one of those things to tell you how far you walked?
Mr. Chen, sorry, didn't see you.
Oh, how are you, sure? Hey, orange balls. I'll have a box of those. Give me a box of those naked lady tees, and give me 2 of those. Give me 6 of those. Hey, I'll buy out the joint, Wang. Stop me, will you? Oh, this is the worst looking hat I ever saw. Well, you buy a hat like this, I'll bet you get a free bowl of soup, huh? Oh, it looks good on you, though. Thank you very much. The movie is longer than that, really.
Sure, I know. Is this your first picture?
No, I made a movie years ago called The Projectionist, and it never got out of the projection booth.
Yeah. I remember that
It's
picture.
around. You remember that?
Yeah.
You're the one who saw it.
Did not do big at the box office.
It was big in Paris, believe it or not,
Yeah.
with French titles, yeah. And that was the end of that movie, I guess.
Yeah.
It's around still, I
You
guess.
gonna make some more
somewhere.
pictures?
Well, I've had numerous offers. I don't know what I want to do. I like live entertainment, you
Yeah,
know
I
what I
know
mean?
what you mean. So do I.
Movies are director's medium, really, you know, but I was brought up in clubs, you know, like Dominic's Black and Blue Room, Teresa's Funhouse, where you have to really go in it live, you know, Carmine's Cave, all those nice places, you know, where you get an immediate feedback, you know, from
Reggie's
the audience.
Ravioli Room, all of those big
Reggie's Ravioli Room.
You bet.
Hey, that, you think pretty good. You're all right, you know?
places. Let me do this. We'll be right back with Arno DeBourgeois. Our next guest has been the chief foreign correspondent for Newsweek magazine for 17 years, and he's had some exclusive interviews with world leaders and has made him one of the most respected journalists of our time. He's also the co-author of a suspense fiction book called The Spike, which is based on his experiences. Would you welcome, please, Arno DeBourgeois. Arno, good to see you again.
See you again. Same tailor, I see.
Yo, well, it would look like an act or something. Of all the people you have interviewed, or let's talk about all the people you wanted to interview and couldn't. Who turned you down? I happen to know, but
Well, Brezhnev turned me down, but and after writing The Spike on how Soviet disinformation operates in this country, obviously I don't have much of a chance of seeing him, so I'm waiting for a change of leadership in the Soviet Union.
you think there will be one?
There's bound to be. I mean, they're all over 70 now.
Right.
Reagan's a young man compared to the Soviet leaders.
That's right. They hang in there for quite a
Long
while,
time.
don't they? Did they give you any reason when you wanted in? You just said absolutely
No,
that
I've
was
just been
it?
turned down every time I've asked for a visa in recent years.
Yeah. Who was the most fascinating? You get asked this question all the time, but who did you find the most open, most candid?
Oh, I think without any doubt, President Sadat of Egypt. Fascinating man.
Right.
And very easy to talk to.
Right.
And a lovely wife. Very congenial atmosphere every time you're there, and I've interviewed him about 13 times since 1970, and hope to see him again in the next few weeks.
Right. You've covered about, what, 17 different
I've
conflicts
covered,
at one time or
well, I've
another?
been with Newsweek 30 years. You mentioned 17 years. That's as chief foreign correspondent, but I've covered 17 wars for Newsweek, and I think that,
Been wounded a few times.
yes, and I think it's about time I had a change of pace. And in fact, I think you've changed my life because, you
Oh.
know, here I am running around the world, doing a lot of war reporting. No one's ever asked me for my autograph. I'm on with you 2 months ago, and I'm stopped all over the United States for
True.
my autograph. Yeah. So now I've decided to do some television work, and but I have some rather modest ambitions. I'm just looking for an income somewhere between Dan Rather and Johnny Carson.
Ah, okay, well, we can... You want to shoot too high to start. You've obviously had some close calls
Quite a few.
when you cover wars. Wasn't there a situation where you were out involved? Now, you're a journalist. You're not supposed to go out.
During the Vietnam War,
Yeah.
we know nobody carried guns. A few war freaks carried guns. I don't know one end of an M16 from another. But one day we were in a very difficult ambush situation. In fact, we lost half the Marine company I was with. I was hit at that time, and it was really a question of throwing grenades or getting killed. And then the International Press Institute in Zurich complained that as a correspondent I'd been involved in combat and had been throwing grenades. So I said, what the hell was I supposed to do? And said, well, you should have said press, which is Bao Chi in Vietnamese.
Like they would respect that immediately.
Of course.
Certainly.
Right.
Press. We've talked about your book, which I find fascinating, called The Spike, which is a term used in journalism. I'm sure you've all seen that thing that sits up and...
Well, it's used symbolically, as you know, Johnny, because in this day and age we have computers and
Right.
you just push a button and kill a story.
But in the old days, they used to...
Put it on that nail-like instrument and spike it.
That would be a kill.
That's it.
Why did you make the book nonfiction, or fiction? Why didn't you make it...
Well, because
Fiction.
we tried to use the political spy thriller as a vehicle,
Right.
not only for entertaining, and apparently we have entertained since we're now at the top of the bestseller list.
Yes, I know.
But as a means of informing. We could have done a PhD thesis and have been read by 5,000 people.
Right.
So, as it is, we've been read by apparently close to 200,000 people.
The theme of your book, of course, has to do with spying, but in a little bit of a different way. We call spying about misinformation and manipulation, disinformation rather, and supplying or not supplying what the American people are supposed to hear. But I get the impression when I read your book, and I've seen you on a couple of other shows, are the American people that unaware? Is our own government that unaware of what you say is...
Well, I think it is, and witness the fact that the president didn't seem to know what Billy Carter was up to. Billy Carter got $220,000 in cash, no receipts, no vouchers, from the Libyan Foreign Liaison Office, which happens to be part of the Libyan Secret Service. And the Libyan Secret Service, to a very large degree today, is controlled by East Germany. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure Billy Carter didn't realize this. But much more important than this, Johnny, is Dr. Sakharov's letter to the New York Times. And Dr. Andrei Sakharov, after all, is a very important Soviet citizen who was at the top of the Soviet establishment for some 30 years. He invented the Soviet H-bomb. He had every door in the Kremlin open to him. And now he's a dissident, as you know, the leading dissident, in exile in his own country, in the city of Gorky.
Right.
He smuggles out a 7,000-word message to the New York Times, in which he warns in no uncertain terms about two things: the penetration and manipulation of our media by the KGB, and links between international terrorist movements and the KGB, the Soviet Secret Service. Right. And Sakharov says there are people who have been bought in the most direct sense of that word, and not always with money. And he says, I'm referring to a great many businessmen, a great many writers, a great many journalists and intellectuals. And coming from Sakharov, that has to be taken seriously, because he was at the top, as I say, of the Soviet establishment, and he knows what's going on behind the scenes.
Don't you, in a way, though, find that the publication of this article goes against what you're saying? You're saying that in many newspapers, things are not printed, which in any way are offensive, and yet an article like this does come out.
And it came as a big shock to a lot of people.
And in fact was printed, so doesn't that give the opposite view of what you're saying?
It's to the eternal credit of the New York Times that they did publish it, but what was strange is that this was barely picked up around the world. Another case, which has just come to light since our book was published, is Pierre-Charles Pathet in Paris. He's 70 years old, a very well-known French journalist who's just been convicted, sentenced to 5 years in jail by a French state security court on charges not of classic espionage, but disinformation, working directly for Directorate A of the KGB. And by the end of his career, the articles were being written for him in the Soviet Union, and they were being published in the French press under his byline as his own article.
Okay, when we come back, let's talk about our own CIA in relation to the KGB and get some kind of an analogy there. We'll be right back. Stay where you are. Arnold, there seems to be now a resurgence in this country to reestablish the CIA as really what it started out to be, was a gathering of intelligence, and for a while they were very unpopular. Now everybody is saying, let's give them back the authority they had.
People are beginning to realize what the CIA has been up against all these years, namely the KGB, which employs 1 million people. CIA employs about 25,000. Admittedly, about 600,000 of the KGB types engaged in internal security to keep that totalitarian state under control. But what this incredible situation we found ourselves in over the last 10 years is that we somehow came to the conclusion that there was a basic incompatibility between a strong and healthy democracy and a strong counterintelligence and covert capability. And look at Israel. There's a typical example. Israel would not have survived without Mossad, the Israeli Secret Service.
You think possibly they came into disfavor because they were really involved sometimes in some domestic things on private citizens that turned everybody off?
That's quite true, but if you talk to Tom Powers, who's the man who wrote The Man Who Kept the Secrets on Dick Helms, the former head of the CIA, Tom will tell you that the CIA was always acting under executive control. And if we have a quarrel with the CIA, we should pick our quarrel with the executive of that time, not with the CIA.
You said they have a million people working, not only, but you mean in this country, all over the world?
If you add their FBI to their CIA, which is called the KGB, it's about 1 million people.
Do you think now it's going to change in this country, in our intelligence gathering services?
I think that President Carter has come to that conclusion. I know that Reagan has come to that conclusion a long time ago. As for Mr. Anderson, I haven't discussed it with him.
Right.
But it's long overdue, and I don't see how we can survive as a strong, healthy superpower without this kind of capability.
Since you were last here, what do you think is the most significant news happening around the world?
The most significant news happening is still what's going on in the Persian Gulf. I think that the other shoe remains to drop in Iran. We have not seen the end of that revolution. It's coming. There was an aborted coup while you were on vacation. I was in close touch with some of the people who were involved in this thing.
It was the attempt in London on
that was involved in Paris on Bakhtiar, on Ali Tabatabai in Washington yesterday, who was killed.
Which they carried off. As usual, we could always spend a lot more time talking about what is happening. The book, which is on the bestseller list, The Spike. Fascinating. Good to see you again. Where are you off to now?
I'm off to Monte Carlo, and I'm going to go to Positano on a boat on the 9th of August.
Don't go on the 9th, 10th, and 11th. Good to see you again, Arno. Rodney, thank you.
My pleasure.
Good to see you. Tomorrow night, Charlton Heston, Charlie Callis, Rosemary Clooney, and Cy Kramer. Thank you. Have a nice evening. I'm humbled by that applause.